Nau mai, haere mai, kia ora. I'm Carl, and welcome to the Emerging Futures Summit.
Kia ora, my name's Tim, and we're your hosts. We're going to be with you over the next 10 days, taking you through the summit. It's really exciting. This has been quite a lot of time in the works for us, and we've been eagerly anticipating it. So today's video is really just intended to help bring all of you together and get a real clear sense of what are we doing and where are we going next. Just remember, we've got the webinars, expert panels coming up in the next 3 days. We are actually in Christchurch, New Zealand, Otatahi.
It's just coming into the evening here, so we're slightly ahead of the rest of the world.
We're in the future. We will always be ahead of all of you. So we can anticipate any problems you have. We are on it. So yeah, we are going to take you through it, and let's remind ourselves of what the summit is all about. Carl, do you want to switch screens? So again, we're here to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. I think you used the word wicked challenges.
Yes.
Wicked problems.
It's that. So these are big problems that cannot be solved by any one mind. They need multiple people from diverse backgrounds with different perspectives, and that's why we pull these teams together. And it's all about, that's your role, is to work with these people that you have teamed up with to solve these problems and actually discover exactly what the problem you're trying to solve is.
So this is not easy, as you probably have got a sense for. So as well as Carl and myself, we've got a group of mentors that are going to be guiding you through the process. So we have Manish from India.
And Elisa, she's from Indonesia.
But Diana from Australia.
Now residing in Christchurch. And Dan, who's from China.
And Adriana. Look at that. We're doubling up. Adriana from Colombia. So we're all going to be here helping you, as we said, through the process. And what is that process? Let's have a quick look.
So here's our journey ahead. So basically, we're currently in this orientation phase, and this is really a moment for you to get to know your team. You'll notice that when you signed into the Trello board, there was a few questions there on your favourite food, and there's a chance for you to introduce yourself to your team members.
Let's flick over to that Trello board and just get people familiar. There's a bit of a lag, but that is the way that it is. So this is the Trello board, and you can see here we've got a few people that have jumped in and have shared their favourite food. And you've got as Carl said, and we'll keep reiterating this over the course of the summit, is the importance of embracing that diversity and creating a diverse and supportive team.
That's right. So during your journey, you will also be looking at the problem that we're trying to solve. So this will kind of kick in over the course of the expert panels, which start on Tuesday. They start tomorrow night New Zealand time at 4 p.m. And that's an opportunity for you to listen to some of the leading minds in our topics of discussion. And because it's going to be broadcasted live to ear via YouTube, you'll also be able to directly ask them questions, and there'll be time in each panel to answer those questions. So this is an ideal opportunity for you to really dig deep into finding out where the problem might be that your team's going to solve.
That's right. So as you're doing that, you'll probably find that you'll end up having some discussions, not only with the experts, but within your teams, but also just generally in the Slack channel. And Slack is where all the kind of the chit-chat is going to go on. We also have Google Communities for posting various bits and pieces, like articles that you find.
Right, it's great. We've already seen a number of people jumping in there now doing that, so that's great to see. And remember, we're all in different time zones, so in the Slack messaging system, you can just leave a note for someone that might pick up the conversation a bit later on. If things move ahead, let your team know what you're doing in Slack and refer them back to the Trello board, or let them know if there's any other platforms. These platforms we've set up for you. There's nothing stopping you for your team to go ahead and set up more appropriate channels or platforms to get the job done.
Right. So we're going to be on Friday, moving into this phase of the global challenge work, where really by this stage you will have a sense, because throughout the expert panels I'm going to be constantly asking that question of our experts. So how does this big gnarly problem, how can that apply to our participants, i.e. that's you, and how do you start to think about breaking a local problem down? And we've got one here as an example.
So this is an example of a local problem. So if we're thinking about the waste streams issue, which is a big global problem, this is one that we've defined. In fact, this is one that I just discovered on the weekend as I was at a festival, absolutely horrified at the behaviour of people at festivals when it comes to waste.
It's a pretty frightening picture, Carl.
Well, that's Glastonbury, and that's one of the worst. And these festivals happen around the world, but really what they are is a kind of a microcosm of what happens in society. So this is our idea here, is really just reframing the problem to something local and something that we can potentially start to dive deeper into and come up with what is this big idea that could change behaviour in this particular circumstance, or move people from being a bystander into someone who's active. So they're really, it could be anything. These wicked problems just open up the window to a number of different things that you can solve, a number of different problems you can solve.
Right. So the way we do that is you will have seen how that question was phrased of how might we actually solve this problem, that we will start defining. And again, you'll be doing that in teams. We'll be here to help, as will the mentors, where we're starting to work through this idea of, hey, I see this problem in my local community. Potentially it's about, local business people need some support to raise some money. When we're thinking about social change, how do we make access to capital, access to education as some examples in the social change space. Resilient energy. So, if energy is expensive around you, what are some alternative ways to get that energy? So again, businesses or homeowners have got the energy they need to be able to get on with their lives. So these problems will start to get picked up, and that again, those three key words, how might we? It's a really important kind of three words that again will keep being brought up through the expert panel.
We will be asking them a lot of questions as well. So it's all about asking questions up until the next phase, which we'll go into a bit further into the festival as that unfolds. So shall we move on to the next slide?
Absolutely. So what the summit is, I guess again, for a lot of you, you may not have done this before, or maybe you have, but this is slightly different from your classic online learning platform. So you will be challenged, you'll be inspired, you'll have to persevere, you'll need to ask for help, not only from us, the experts, but most importantly, your team. That leads us to, you'll have to work together and embrace that diversity. In fact, what you'll come to realize is that the diversity within your teams are actually your core strength. And again, you're going to have to do some work. So this is not just tune into some expert panels, kind of listen and walk away with a participating certificate and badge at the end. You're actually going to have to do some work, and we really encourage you to stick around for that, because again, you might surprise yourself.
That's right. The more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. And when we talk about work, we see it happening in small bursts. Remember, you've got your team to work with. You might decide to divvy up roles or take on roles and responsibilities during the program. So it's entirely up to you. We're here to really help smooth things over and point you in the right direction and sort of unblock things as you go.
So some of the keys to success, you will have hopefully picked up that My Workspace, which is on the emergingfutures.co.nz website, where you signed up. There's a big button there that used to have register on it. It now says My Workspace. And that's where you will find all the resources you need to essentially build your pathway of learning over the next 10 days. So we're going to be actively updating that, and we'll be pushing through Slack when that's been updated with important resources for you. So, Carl, you've already mentioned be resourceful.
Be resourceful. If you decide, the best way to start to really have a conversation and dig into a serious problem is to get onto Hangouts. We're using Hangouts a lot here, or even any other video conferencing
Skype,
programs.
WeChat, what else we got?
You name it, yeah.
I'm trying to think. I've got
Telegram.
Telegram.
They've all got video conferencing facilities now.
Facebook Messenger.
That's right.
Text message.
Just use those videos, the video conferencing platforms, as much as you can to self-organize, ask questions of each other, and just get to know each other. There's not many festivals around the world that you can get to meet so many incredible people from so many different countries.
And all of our updates are going to be over video because, again, you get to learn about us and it's a little bit more personal. And again, we're here to help. I think that's the most important thing. It's the big difference between this festival of learning and others you might have been involved in. We're here to actually help guide you through that process and make sure you come out successfully. So some of our expectations, it's really important that you're curious, because curiosity means an open mind. Be kind to each other. That should go without saying. But again, really embrace each other and enjoy the differences that are in your team and within the wider festival community. Be committed.
Be committed, yeah. If you're going to say you're going to be there, try and make it, or at least communicate if you can't. And I think the overarching thing is for this whole summit is just to have fun as well. Really embrace the differences we have across the teams. Look, whether you come out with an amazing idea or it all falls apart or whatever, as long as you keep a good attitude and having a good time during it, I'm sure you'll come out on top.
Cool. Okay. We're making good progress, Carl.
Yeah, this is amazing.
So a little bit more about my workspace. So again, links to webinars, links to your tools, links to problem-solving resources. You're going to find everything on my workspace. So a little bit about getting set up. And again, we apologize for those of you that are already there, but we've provided a set of tools.
So we've provided Slack and Trello for starters to get you started. Because organizing yourself across time zones, across cultures, across language barriers is going to be part of the challenge of the whole festival. So what we've done is we've offered up a few platforms initially, which are universal platforms. It's not like a learning management system. It's these are platforms that you can go on and use.
And they're free, right?
They're all free. Everything we're using is either free or low cost, and they're becoming the tools that you need to use to collaborate across time zones and across various teams. So Slack's your place to chat, to let people know what you're doing, if you've got any new ideas, or you just want to dig in. And
how do we use it, mate? We use it like text, right? We have a conversation. So
right.
It's no different from WeChat, from WhatsApp, from Facebook Messenger. It's just this will be your place where you come and do Merge and Future Summit work. And that's where the conversation will be had. You're in your teams. You've got access to us, the mentors. It's us trying to be in the same digital room or virtual room because not all of us can make it to New Zealand, or not all of us can make it to where you are. We also have the Google community.
So that's going to be basically the knowledge base. You'll notice that there's a number of great articles in there. And as we progress through the challenges, we will there'll be points along the way where we want you to share your insights, as well as where you're going with your problems. So at the point that you define your how might we statement, we're going to ask you all to share what that how might we statement is and get feedback from the whole community. And this is not just people doing the challenges, it's also people from the wider community watching. We've got 1,200 people invited to watch the webinar series, and there's a whole lot of other people involved in signing up to the Google community as well. So there'll be a lot of exposure there for you to crowdsource your feedback and get peer review.
Ask questions, post things, just be, again, positive, be kind, be embracing. We really want to make sure that everyone is here pushing forward, because again, these problems aren't going to be solved without the big community getting behind them.
The next platform we're going to be using is Trello. Trello, a lot of you would have already logged in and checked that out. We've preloaded that with a number of questions for you to get started. It also follows the same process as My Journey, the diagram we showed you earlier. And in here, you and your mentors will work together to organize your thoughts, really. You can move things around in here. You can start to rate things or highlight things as being important, move them up the scale. You can add new lists, create new lists to do some decision making.
It's really a workspace, right? Like, this is where you will kind of organize yourself.
It's your virtual whiteboard. Yep. and post-it note board. So you can get into using that as the summit moves forward. We've talked about video conferencing, but let's have a look at what's going to happen over the next 3 days. If you go into the Emerging Futures website, there is a timetable there that runs us through the 10 days of the summit. So firstly, on Tuesday, we've got a panel on space, the modern day space race.
I'm really excited about this one.
I'm excited about all of them.
Every single time we talk to our experts, I say at the end, and I'm really excited about this.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, but they're all going to be fantastic. So make sure, note the times. They will be available for you to watch afterwards, but if you don't tune in live, you're not going to have a chance to ask questions from our experts during the course of the panel itself.
And you might be surprised what panels are relevant. You could be working on something that's very much about a social problem, but the sustainable design panel may have some answers to that.
What some of you have been asking about is what challenges each of the panels
relate to.
So
we jump into the challenges page there, Tim. You'll find that it's just underneath the challenges page.
I went to the wrong place.
Yeah. So we've got challenges and we've got panels. The panels are there to support you to solve these challenges. So just under there, you can see with space.
These are our individual panels. Is that right, Carl?
Yeah.
Have I got that right?
They're roughly, in terms of relevance, the most relevant panels. If you're working on this particular challenge, the human survival challenge, then we would encourage you to watch those 3 panels. We'd actually encourage you to watch all the panels because I think you'll get a lot out of those. But have a look at the challenges and just
so there they are again.
This one's about waste streams, so sustainable design. Absolutely, you can't take. You've got to reuse your materials in space, and plus there's a whole lot of social challenges around waste, as per our festival's problem that we identified.
I think what Carl says though is there will be something in every single panel discussion that is relevant to solving one of the 5 challenges. So we highly encourage you to tune in to all of them.
That's right. And I think we're almost there, aren't we, with our introduction to the Emerging Futures Summit. We are here online, usually through office hours in New Zealand time. And we've got 5 other mentors also watching the channel. But let's have a look. This is the next 3 days.
Next 3 days. So again, panel discussions. Hopefully we've repeated ourselves enough for that to be burned into your minds. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, check back on the website for times.
Set up reminders on YouTube.
Even better. Yeah, that's right. But also just note that the times are in New Zealand time. And what are we? We're 12? 13 at the moment. 13 hours ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time. So just check in and make sure you don't miss them, but they will be available afterwards for you to watch on the YouTube channel. So continue to introduce yourself. Make sure you get set up on each of the channels. That is Slack, Trello, and Google Communities. If you haven't received invites yet, they'll be coming through in the next 24 hours.
And if you've had problems with getting online or onto any of those channels, then there is a support link on My Workspace that you can click and just send us an email and we'll come to the rescue.
Wow. To the rescue.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We want you to succeed.
All right, fantastic. Well, this has been great. You'll be hearing from us again over, as we said, the next 10 days. You'll see me tomorrow at the Space Challenge panel discussion. And yeah, I'm really excited.
Same. It's going to be a great week.
Fantastic. All right, we'll see you soon. Kia ora.